before we move on to our food and fellowship. First up, we're going to start with Miss Ceresia Cole. And I'm going to read you a little bit of information about her. A lot of these bios are abbreviated for the sake of time, but these people have a lot of rich information about them. Power Play magazine was formed in 2003 by Little Rock native Darren Peters, who returned to Central Arkansas from Washington, D.C., where he had served as a member of former President Bill Clinton's staff. Peters' desire was to create a publication that would give African Americans not only a voice, but would also seek to highlight the depth and diversity of African Americans in Arkansas, in order to demonstrate that blacks are nowhere close to being a monolithic people. To launch the concept, Peters established a voluntary editorial team comprised of talented progressive professionals, including people like Vivian Flowers, Phyllis Dickerson, Warwick Sabin, and Lamar Davis, to name a few. Also a part of that team was Ceresia Cole, a Little Rock native, who became the founding editor-in-chief of Power Play magazine. With a natural knack for writing and the passion for the written word, Cole is a self-described magazine aficionado. With her knack and passion in tow, Peters and a great team launched their first Power Play magazine in June 2003. The issue featured on its cover and headlined 20 influential African Americans in Arkansas, and you can see it on the screen here. Alas, Power Play magazine, a magazine that builds itself on success, substance, and style, has found its way to our communal space, and we're grateful for that. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing Ceresia Cole, founding editor of Power Play magazine.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon. Again, I am Ceresia Cole. I'm thrilled to be here. I appreciate the City of Little Rock. I appreciate Ms. Erica Benedicto and the Little Rock's Racial and Cultural Diversity Commission for this wonderful occasion. Black History Month, of course. We do Black History Month 365 if you happen to be African American. I encourage you, if you don't, you should. But February is a special time that's set aside for us to do just that, to honor African American achievement, our contributions, our indelible contributions to our city, our states, our nation, the world. And I just want to appreciate all of you for being here for this honor. If you know anything about me, you know that I am a self-proclaimed Little Rock girl. I'm a native of Little Rock. I'm a product, I'm a proponent, I'm a promoter of all things Little Rock and Arkansas. And so it was absolutely my pleasure to work on Power Play. I have always been fascinated by the media. While some of you might have been outside playing, I was in the house playing TV broadcaster. I had a younger brother and a sister, and I made them be my co-host, but of course I was the anchor. And that's what I did. I was in the house playing TV because that was always my first love. And I was able to work in television as well as radio and public relations. And yes, I love the written word. I love words, I love stories, and I believe that it's important for us to capture our story through our own lens, through our own non-monolithic perspective, and with a chorus of our own voices. And that's what Power Play did, to highlight the depth and diversity of African Americans in the state of Arkansas. I definitely want to give a shout out to my partner, Darren Peters, who is in Washington, D.C. And yeah, that was actually our last 20 influential. It's important to tell you who's influential. It's important to tell you the movers and shakers of Arkansas. It's important to tell you what our community is doing in terms of health and education and spirituality, community. It's important that we honor people like Miss Annie Abrams and Helene Williams, who I've always been fascinated from day one, always been her fan, and I was able to give her some shine and some light in our publication because it hadn't been done and it needed to be done. Do you know that she's been at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette for what, 35 years? We don't tell that story. Who gets to tell that story? We are, in our publications and our media, we are historians. We're able to record history. history is not for us, history is for future generations. And if we don't record it, there will be no record that we were here. There will be a myth of absence because there is no record of it. There has to be a record that this took place today. So I just want to appreciate you. Power Play, we're not actually doing Power Play anymore, sadly, and I have a new magazine in development that will be for women because I think that there's a void on the scene for that. I'm always looking for stories. I'm always going to promote your stories. I'd rather talk about you than myself any day of the week. I know if you follow my social media, you probably say I'm a little fascinated about myself through pictures, but I just feel like disregard that. I think your stories are important. Your stories are important, and we got to capture and tell them. So thank you for this honor. I appreciate you so much. Continue to celebrate our history, not only our history, but our present. Our present is as important as our history. Let's record it, let's tell it, let's celebrate it loud and strong. Thank you.
All your sides, right? Ceresia, we're going to present you with this certificate of recognition. Thank you for your work, for illuminating our stories, our lives, and our matters. You have a personalized note from the mayor, also thanking you for your work. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. We almost wore the same dress. That would have been a nightmare. Okay, moving on. And we are, as Ceresia mentioned, we're also celebrating our present. Miss Lady Magazine, let me tell you a little bit about that development. And it sounds like you've changed the name, so I'm sure you'll tell us about that. Starting online in the year 2009, it wasn't expected for Miss Lady Magazine to move offline. Now, with 17 published issues in less than 3 years, the production has endured countless issues in the community, covered prominent leading ladies, and shined the light on hot topics including family, business, fashion, beauty, men, health, and art. Miss Lady Magazine is an urban, bi-monthly production published throughout Central Arkansas. The print and online production was founded by Jazz Shirel, Sherelle. Yeah, I took a risk there. Sherelle. The magazine values the community, addressing the people, issues, activities, and events throughout the state. Through marketing, advertising, and feature writing, the production reaches out to many residents and businesses to create unity within the urban community. Miss Lady Magazine has received several awards, including the Women of Excellence Media Award by Sister Friends United, the Social Butterfly Award by New Africa Alliance, the Community Service Award by Arkansas Beauty Expo, Black Love and History Special Recognition Award from the Social Justice Department at Philander Smith College, and countless other recognitions from the community. About the editor. Jasmine's creative mind for journalism didn't start with the magazine. Since her childhood years, reading and writing has been a favorite for Jasmine. From poems and short stories to working on the school newspaper and yearbook staff in high school, her journey was set for journalism. It's her destiny. While in college, Jasmine was able to write for college-based magazines and was published with the BET Network, enabling her to become Dillard University's editor-in-chief of the student-run newspaper for the year 2007-2008. Shortly after college, Jasmine became founder and chief editor of Miss Lady Magazine, an online publication for today's growing women. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Jazz Sherelle.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys so much for recognizing us. We really appreciate it. I thought that was our job to stop and recognize people doing their thing within the community. But it feels so good to be recognized by someone else, or for someone else to say, hey, you're doing your thing too, so keep it going, and I really, really appreciate it. This year, we actually changed our name to ML Community and Lifestyle Magazine because we did originally start with the women, but we want to talk about everybody because everybody wants to be talked about, especially within our community. And the main thing is to talk about what's not being discussed between friends, who's not having these conversations between businesses, and what's going on at the family table. A lot of times we're not talking about each other in a high positive light. We're not even talking about finances correctly, within our families and our friends. So that's where we jump in as a publication. We stop to let you know who opened a new business, who had a breakthrough within their business, who has a good story to tell within the community. There are so many publications out here, but you rarely see us on every page. That's why it's important for us to get involved within the community and make sure that everybody's recognized correctly. Nowadays, my generation, we say no shade when we don't want to insult anyone, but no shade on the actual media. Sometimes 10 o'clock news focuses on who got shot and who did it when it comes to us. You never see them uplifting us or, making sure that they spotlight all the other things that are going on within our culture, because there are so many things going on. I'm 29 years old, and my generation, they're running away from a lot of things. They're following things that aren't of them as far as our culture. And even here in Little Rock, you'll see people leave because they feel like nothing's going on or no one supports and things of that nature. But I am just so happy and so blessed that the magazine is proof, that things are going on and that people support. We have been able to publish this magazine, or at least talk about people, for 7 years. We published for 4 years print, and I'm just so excited to have proof to tell people that, wait a minute, there's support. We got sponsors, and most of them are Black-owned businesses. And I have to stop them and say, wait a minute, there are things going on out here. Page 2 through 32 proves it, We changed our slogan to "We are because you are." There would not be a publication if you guys weren't out here making it worthwhile to have a story. If you guys didn't have a business to come back and support us, there would not be a publication. We're just the middleman, what I like to tell people. But today, it feels so great, especially during this month of honors and, dignity on our culture, to be celebrated. I really, really do appreciate it. I thank you guys for recognizing us because, again, that's our job. We recognize you. So thank you so much for taking the time to make sure that we're celebrated just as much as everyone else within the community.
Appreciate it. You're welcome.
Thank y'all.
Okay, moving on. The Empowerment Initiative online newsletter. Renata Williams is the founder and editor of the Empowerment Initiative online newsletter, founded in 1998 in Monroe, Louisiana. Williams founded TION 3 years after he attended the Million Man March. While returning from the march on the bus, Williams and other march goers discussed their plans to empower the Black community once they returned home. Williams, who was already working with youth, vowed to increase his mentoring program, increase his work in advocacy groups, and as a columnist and reporter for the Monroe Press newspaper, he reaffirmed his commitment to informing the Black community about more issues vital to their well-being and success. And if the editor did not agree, then he would just launch his own newspaper and business. And he did just that. From there, the Umoja Network was formed, and obviously the Empowerment Initiative online newsletter. The mission of the newsletter is to empower the minds of Black people with valuable information based on actual facts in reports, data, and statistics, etc. The concept of empowerment as it relates to Blacks is geared toward increasing a person's spiritual, mental, and physical abilities to excel in education, economics, and politics, along with health and social progress. Williams decided to publish online because, well, it's economical. It allowed his access to be broad while avoiding the costliness of print. Williams' most recent features included Dr. Dambisa Moyo, a global economist who spoke at the Clinton School of Public Service earlier this month, and maybe some of you all attended. So when you read his newsletters, that's the kind of information you will get. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome and celebrate Bernardo Williams.
I greet you, Hotep, peace in Egyptian, and give an asante, thank you in Swahili, to God for bringing us together. I would also like to thank Mrs. Erica Benedicto, Diversity Program Manager for the Racial and Cultural Diversity Commission, for recognizing me. I appreciate you dearly, sister. I also want to thank my wife and queen, Helene Williams, for supporting my endeavors. Over the years, you have been my solid rock, sister. I stand before you today as a representative of media, specifically one who represents and advocates African American media. It is vital for America's print and electronic media to keep this country well informed about such issues as education, economics, health, and environment. This is an especially virtual and noble mandate for African American publications and electronic media. The news pertaining to Black America is limited, filtered in predominantly white print and electronic outlets. This is due to the limited amount of time and space in which these outlets must function in the 21st century. It's due as well as to the lack of Black journalists, editors, and managers. In addition, the white mainstream print media as well as Black media face challenges to their existence in a day in which news comes easily and free online. Black press outlets struggle with the additional challenge of raising revenue through advertising. This was why I made the transition from a printed publication, the Empowerment Initiative, the newspaper I founded in 1998, to an online publication and blog. Despite its challenges, Black print and electronic media must keep up the fight to exist in light of the present day state of affairs in Black America. Black journalistic voices are needed more than ever to motivate, inspire, and provide valuable information. These things are what I vow to continue to do, whether writing for other Black print media outlets or my own. Hotep.
Hotep, my brother, and you're welcome. Let's take a picture. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Appreciate it.
All right. Janice F. Kearney is a publisher, author, and one of 19 children born to Arkansas Delta sharecroppers. There we go. She graduated from the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville with a BA in journalism and completed over 25 graduate level hours at UA Fayetteville and the University of Arkansas Little Rock in public administration and journalism. Janice F. Kearney went to work for the civil rights legend Daisy Gadsden Bates award-winning Arkansas State Press in 1987 as managing editor. In 1988, she became publisher of the newspaper. In 1993, she took a sabbatical from the newspaper to work with the Clinton administration in Washington, D.C., where she served in the roles of White House media specialist, the White House, Communications Director, U.S. Small Business Administration, and personal diarist to President William Jefferson Clinton, the White House Oval Office staff. Carney was selected in 2001 for a two-year W.E.B. Du Bois Fellowship at Harvard University's Center for African and African American Studies. In 2003 for a two-year appointment as Chancellor's Lecturer at Chicago City Colleges. In 2005, a two-year appointment as Humanities Fellow at Chicago's DePaul University Center for the Humanities, and in 2007, a one-year visiting Humanities and Political Science professor at Arkansas State University. Carney, with her husband Bob J. Nash, founded Writing Our World Press, a micro-publishing company in 2004. Publications include Cotton Field of Dreams, a memoir, Quiet Guys Do Great Things Too, as told by Frank Ross, Conversations, William Jefferson Clinton, From Hope to Harlem, Once Upon a